Okay, so this is a tutorial for a skirt add-on for the peg leg pattern. I kind of just winged this. I kind of just visualized it how I wanted it, and then I just kind of made it. So I can't say like the sizes and measurements you'd need for every size, but I can tell you what I use for me, and then you can kind of adapt from there. I'm a medium with the peg leg pattern, so if that helps. I cut 2 pieces of fabric that were 20 by 11. This one's a little bit longer. The first one I did was 11 inches. I'm doing something slightly different with this one. And then I hemmed the bottom of each piece. Then I put right sides together, and I marked about 1.5 inches from each edge, and I pinned all the way down. And I'm just going to go to the sewing machine and sew following the line of pins where I measured it off on each side. Okay, so now that I have sewn this line and this line where it was pinned, I'm going to take this like this, and I'm going to open up the hem. And I'm just going to, it's on the inside, so it really doesn't matter how neat it is. I kind of like it to look neat, so I would just fold this over like that, all the way down, and just pin it to one side of the fabric. And just do that, I think you can see it in the camera. Just do that all the way down on each side. And so I have the salvage here in this little curl, so it's a little hard. But I would just pin it all the way down here and fold this one back and pin it all the way down like that. And then I would flip it over and I would open up the seam, or the hem I just made, that extra piece that we left, and I would fold that back. This side's a little easier to show you as an example. And fold that back. You get the idea, right? And then, you want to pin it because it moves, especially with this slippery fabric. And you want to make them, kind of even. It's going to be on the inside, so you're not going to see it, but it's nice to have them even. So I just would pin that all the way down, and then I go to the sewing machine, and I would sew this side all the way up to there, and then I would sew this side all the way up to there, and then I would do the other side over here, so each side that I had pinned on either side. So I will do that, and I will come back. Okay, so I have sewn each side down, which leaves a little encasing on either side, and the skirt is still sewn together, obviously, where you sewed it. So then we'll take, I made 4 of these. You want it to be at least as long as your piece. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but you want it to be at least as long as your piece. If you're doing it like 11 inches, you want to be at least, I did mine 13, because once you gather it and you scrunch it, when this gets like scrunched up, it's got to be super long. So you don't want it super long, but you also don't want it too short because you want to be able to scrunch it. So you want it, I'd say, at least 2 inches longer than what the final length of your skirt is going to be. So I made 4 of these, and they're all ratty and messy because I just barely sewed them quick. And I just take a safety pin, and this is just a piece of lycra that I had, this black lycra that I had left over, and it was 20, I think this one, no baby, no balloons in the kitchen, mommy's busy, sorry, I have a toddler. This was, I believe, 21 by 1.5 inches, and I just folded it over and made a tube, and then turned it in right side in, if that makes sense. So then I just would take the safety pin, and the part that you hemmed on the skirt is going to be the bottom, and then I just and you might want to use a bigger safety pin. It's the only one I could find on hand quickly. But you want to trail it all the way up one side. And I'll just leave that there for a moment. You want to trail it all the way up, and you're going to want it all the way up on the inside, on each side, about an inch from the top. So you're going to put it up here on each side and the inside, on that side of the skirt and on this side of the skirt. You're going to trail it up with a safety pin about an inch from the very top. And then once they're in, you're just going to pin them. It'd be a good idea to pin them right here and here where they end. And then you're just going to take your machine and just sew a line. And do a lot, because you don't want to pull this and have it come out. So then you just do that. So I'm going to go finish trailing this all the way up on both sides of the skirt. And I will stitch them off at the top. And then I'll come back and tell you what we do next. Okay, another way you can do the strings. I don't know if I can get this in the camera. But if you pull them flush rather than do them an inch down, if you just pull them flush with the top and you stitch across and you catch what's in there, you can just pull this down and then just cut them, because you don't want them in near the top. So you want to cut them close to where you sewed them. Just make sure the fabric is really pulled down on either side. And then they're sewn here, and you still have all this fabric here that's just, so it's not as bulky. It makes it a little easier. That's probably the easier way to go about doing that. I hope it's showing in the camera. And excuse the Wreck-It Ralph in the background. Okay. And then once I sewed that, I just went ahead and basted the top. You can see it's kind of gathered. I just basted it, because it's going to be wider than what your peg legs are going to be. So you take your pants. In my case, I have a pair of shorties because I'm just going to do a little skirt over shorts. And you would put it exactly how you'd want it to lay. Make sure this is right side out. That would have been bad. The seams and all the where you folded this back initially, the encasing, you want that on the inside, which is kind of goes without it having to say, hopefully. So then you take your pants